Persian Gulf is currently defined by an uneasy stillness. A fragile ceasefire has paused the active bombardment, leaving opposing naval fleets to stare each other down across the water. This is the Strait of Hormuz. The gap between Iran and Oman is exactly 21 miles wide. Normally, massive volumes of global oil flow through this passage, but recently the corridor has functioned as a closed combat zone. Controlling this specific bottleneck provides the power to choke the global energy supply. That strategic reality makes the current ceasefire nearly impossible to maintain. The consequences of this military stalemate are currently being felt far beyond the water's edge. In just the first 2 months of fighting, preliminary figures show over 2,000 dead in Iran. The violence has also spilled into southern Lebanon, drawing neighboring populations into a conflict they did not choose. Inside Iran, the state has enforced a near-total digital blackout, while using lethal force to crush internal civilian protests. While politicians calculate their next moves, it is the voiceless civilian population that is actively paying the price for this geopolitical deadlock. The peace is already failing. Recently, U.S. military personnel intercepted and boarded an Iranian-flagged cargo vessel, an aggressive move that Tehran immediately labeled a violation of the ceasefire. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps responded by locking down the Strait of Hormuz to all unauthorized international traffic. Lawmaker Ibrahim Azizi has defended this stance, stating that controlling the passage is an inalienable right, and characterizing the U.S. presence in the region as global piracy. This lockdown has caused a severe backlash from neighboring Gulf states. The United Arab Emirates formally denounced the move, describing the Iranian blockade as an act of hostile piracy. A single ship seizure escalated into a regional security crisis within hours, demonstrating that traditional military deterrence has failed. These military escalations have exposed a deepening rift within the Iranian government, pitting the IRGC against more moderate diplomatic officials. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi attempted to lower the temperature by announcing on social media that the strait was completely open. U.S. President Donald Trump responded immediately, aggressively thanking Araghchi in a public post. The reaction inside Iran was swift and harsh. IRGC-aligned media publicly humiliated Araghchi for his post, claiming he had inadvertently handed a propaganda victory to the United States. This internal sabotage proves that in a modern conflict, a single social media post can be enough to destroy diplomatic momentum. This diplomatic breakdown reached its peak during the highly anticipated peace negotiations in Islamabad, Pakistan. Expectations were high, evidenced by the heavy security and the massive banners prepared for the face-to-face meeting between the warring powers. However, the talks stalled before they began. While a U.S. team led by Vice President J.D. Vance arrived in Pakistan, Iran refused to send its negotiators until the American naval blockade of its ports was lifted. President Trump responded to the boycott by accusing Tehran of blackmail and reiterating his demands for total maritime access. The most significant opportunity for peace has collapsed over prerequisites and public posturing, long before any negotiators could actually sit at the table. The politicians dictating these terms remain physically safe in their respective capitals, far removed from the actual combat zones. For those living in the region, the strait is no longer just a trade route. It has been transformed into a bargaining chip that relies on continued human suffering to maintain its value. As the temporary ceasefire continues to unravel, the focus on political leverage ensures that the regional cycle of violence will only intensify.